Hi, I'm Jenny Poff, founder of the Designers Roundtable, a national accountability group for independent creative business owners. I'm also director of the Designers Roundtable Retreat, an inaugural event happening on June 25th and 26th in Nashville. One of our speakers is Emily Cohen, who's with me today. Emily is a strong-minded expert and consultant to design firm principals for nearly 20 years, specializing in confidential, best practice insights, and a variety of advice for doing better business. Emily, can you share with us how you got into the consulting arena?
Sure. I would love to. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited about the event, and I'm going to Nashville. It's going to be fun. So I started my career a little differently. I actually was a designer. So I went to design school and was a designer for several years. My internal joke is I always say that I know kerning. So I have a designer's spirit, but I realized pretty quickly that I was not great at it. And there were many more people that were better at it than I was. And I'm a very ambitious person and wanted to do something else. And so I asked everybody what I should do and what I was good at. And everybody in the field was saying, you're really good at the business end. You're really good at managing clients and projects and staffing. You should do that. I was like, okay. So I ended up managing a studio that I grew from 5 people to about 50 when I left. They moved twice, so I have a lot of experience growing and managing kind of firms and design firms in particular. And pretty quickly, I got a lot of business because people heard that, hey, this is this woman out there that can do business stuff, and we need you. So I ended up building a consulting practice, and it's gone very successfully. And I work with, and I love what I do. So I work with small to mid-sized design firms, anywhere from one-person firms to anywhere up to 30-person firms. Primarily graphic design firms, digital or print, and all my clients are just the most delightful people in the world. They're just great to be with, and I help them grow their business. I talk to them about project, client, staff management strategies, pricing their services, planning the business growth, thinking outside of just the fires that they're fighting and figuring out where they take their business, any kind of business issues that support their operations and their organizational structure.
And that's a huge topic in itself, and it's definitely a common pain point that we've heard in the Designers Roundtable sessions of defining what your business process is.
Yeah, which is what I'm talking about. So that's a nice transition. Yeah, but that's exactly it.
Yeah, so your session is called Managing Projects and Clients for High Impact. Can you give our attendees a little sneak peek as to what that session will be about?
Sure. So I'm very excited about this session because it's going to be focused on both project and client management. And I like to talk about those two things together. I don't think they're separate. They're very intertwined with each other. How you manage clients affects how you manage your projects. How you manage your projects affects how you manage your clients. So I will give you both the strategies and the tools and the techniques to do two things. One is to predict the problems in advance. So reading those red flags and preventing problems from happening. Because I think a lot of times design firms are just fighting fires and they don't think, how can I prevent this from happening? So we're going to focus on a lot of things about having the basic foundational knowledge to really grow your business in a much smarter way to prevent those kinds of problems from happening. But then once those problems happen, how do you fix them? So I'm going to give you some strategies and tools around that. So just a simple example, like one of the common examples that I try to pull from my clients' experiences is websites. Websites, you think they're going to be 3 to 4 months. That's what you price it based on. And then the client and other things happen, and it ends up being an 8-month project. So how do you handle that? Because the scope doesn't necessarily expand, but your hours and your time does expand. And so how do you manage those kinds of things? So I'll work with you and everybody in the event to really kind of figure out what are the best strategies and tools for that.
So helping us be more proactive than reactive for doing better business.
Exactly.
So one of the things that sets our retreat off from other conferences are the working labs that are following in each session. So give us a little teaser as to what kind of tools they'll be doing in the working lab.
Sure. That's actually going to be the fun part because what I'm going to do is I've developed kind of scenarios of client challenges that I will distribute among the different challenges among each of the different teams, different tables. I'm going to break you down in round tables, and you're going to each kind of problem solve a typical client situation or scenario, and that I've pulled from real life from my clients. So they're very common situations that almost everybody in the audience has experienced in one way or not, or will experience in the future. And then each table is going to workshop and explore ways of how to manage those situations in a better way, how to prevent them from happening, and then if they do happen, how to mitigate them during kind of these fires. And then each of the tables are going to then bring back to the larger group the learnings from their table. So we're going to learn from each group. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
well, that's great. It's going to be able to have those many different scenarios at one time, and then be able to take those back in their arsenal binders and be able to implement and learn from those right away.
Yeah, and it's really also just great to know that other people share these challenges. Sometimes when you work in isolation, and because a lot of your firms are really kind of solopreneurs, they don't know that these things are very common, and just feeling so much better knowing that other people have gone through what you're going through.
So sorry.
That's okay.
Oh my gosh.
We're human. We get to cough.
Right? So lastly, why don't you tell us about your Evolve Symposium?
Sure, I'd love to tell you. So Evolve is very similar to the Designers Roundtable Retreat, except it's sort of the next level. It's firms that have basic foundational knowledge, but need to take their business to the next level, thus the Evolve. It's much smaller, so it's limited to 40 to 50 of firms, and it's only accessible to the principals of design firms, people that are solopreneurs, as well as firms as large as 20 person, but on the average we have 1 to 5 person firms that represent. And it's all about transparency. So it's all about peers learning from each other and really talking to each other and building relationships and sharing best practices. Throughout the days, there'll be 2 days, and it's in Brooklyn. So it's a cool space in October 22nd and 23rd. And I'm running it with a partner, and she's a principal of a design firm called MSLK. And so you're going to get both the kind of principal-driven best practices as well as the expert consultant best practices. And there's a lot of debate, and it's really fun, and it goes really quickly, but it's exhausting because it's 2 full days of learnings and action items and lots of conversations. So it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. And I've had it for the last 3 years. And one of the things I love about it is that all these firms, they stay in touch with each other. You're right. And they build they build connections with each other. And that's fantastic. So they stay in touch. They help each other grow their business.
That sounds exciting. Community is so huge. I mean, we see the benefits in our level of Designers Roundtable. We've seen it at other conferences as well. And especially when you're independent or have a smaller group, you need to be able to collaborate outside of your scope to keep learning and to keep growing.
Yeah, especially when your firms you're working, solopreneurs in an isolated way. So it's just great to be exposed to. And this is one thing that's also great. And I think it's the same thing with yours. It's going to be firms from across the country.
That sounds exciting. So people can learn more about that. There'll be a link. There's a link in your bio on our retreat site. And there'll be one with this video as well. So if you'd like to learn more, they can click on that link.
And I can also offer a discount for those that, are interested. Contact me.
Excellent. All right, everybody. I hope you're getting excited about the retreat in Nashville on June 25th and 26th of 2015. If you'd like to register, you can go to designersretreat.com and click register. And you can learn all about our speakers and sessions there as well.
Great.
Thanks so much, Emily. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nashville.
Yeah, and I look forward to meeting everybody.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks again.